Good morning, and I'm continuing my reading from the second book of Samuel, from chapter 14 onwards. Now Joab the son of Zeruiah perceived the king's heart was towards Absalom. And Joab sent to Tekoa and fetched thence a wise woman and said unto her, I pray thee, feign thyself to be a mourner, and put now mourning apparel, anoint thou thyself with oil, but be as a woman that has a long time mourned for the dead. And come to the king and speak on this manner unto him. So Joab put the words in her mouth. And when the woman at Tekoa spake to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and did obeisance, and said, Help, O king. And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, I am indeed a widow woman, and my husband is dead. And thy handmaid had 2 sons, and they strove together in the field, and there was none to part them, and one smote the other, and slew him. And behold, the whole family is risen against thy handmaid. And they said, Deliver him that smote his brother, that we may kill him, for the life of his brother whom he slew, and we will destroy the heir also. And so they quench my coal which is left, and shall not leave to my husband neither name nor remainder upon the earth. And the king said unto this woman, Go to thy house, and I will give charge concerning thee. And the woman of Tekoa said unto the king, My lord, O king, the iniquity be on me, and on my father's house, and the king and his throne be guiltless. And the king said, Whosoever saith aught unto thee, bring him to me, and he shall not touch thee any more. Then should see, I pray thee, let the king remember the Lord thy God, that thou wouldst not suffer the revengers of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. And he said, As the Lord liveth, there shall not one hair of their son fall to the earth. Then the woman said, Let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak one word unto my lord the king. And he said, Say on. And the woman said, Wherefore then hast thou done such a thing against the people of God? For the king did speak this thing as one which is faulty, in that the king did not fetch him home again, he is banished. For we must need die, and as water split on ground, which cannot be gathered up again, neither did God respect any person, yet that he devise means that his banished be not expelled from him. Now therefore, that I am come to speak of this thing unto my lord my king, it is because the people have made me afraid, that thy handmaid said, I will now speak unto the king. It may be that the king will perform the request of his handmaid, for the king will hear to deliver his handmaid out of the hand of the man that would destroy me and my son together out of the inheritance of God. Then thy handmaid said, The word of the Lord the king shall now be comfortable. For as an angel of God, so is my lord the king to discern good and bad. Therefore the Lord thy God will be with thee. Then the king answered and said unto the woman, Hide not from me, I pray thee, the thing that thou shalt ask of thee. And the woman said, Let my lord the king now speak. And the king said, Is not the hand of Joab within thee in all this? And the woman answered and said, None can, as the soul liveth, my lord the king, none can turn the right hand or the left from aught that my lord the king hath spoken. For thy servant Joab, he bade me, and he put all these words in my mouth of the handmaid. To fetch about this form of speech hath my servant Joab done this thing, and my lord he is wise, according to the wisdom of the angel of God, to know all things that are in earth. And the king said to Joab, Behold now, I have done this thing. Go therefore, bring the young man Absalom again. And Joab fell to the ground on his face, bowed himself, and thanked the king. And Joab said, Today thy servant knoweth that I have found grace in thy sight, my lord, O king, that the king has fulfilled the request of thy servant. So Joab arose and went to Geshur, and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said, Let him turn to his own house, and let him not see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house, and saw not the king's face. And in all Israel there was none to be so much praised as Absalom for his beauty. From the sole of his feet, even the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. And when he bald his head, for it was at the year's end, he bald it. Because the hair was heavy on him, therefore he bald it. He weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels after the king's weight. And unto Absalom there was born 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of fair countenance. And Absalom dwelt 2 full years in Jerusalem, and saw not the king's face. Therefore Absalom sent for Joab to have sent him to the king, but he would not come to him. And when he sent him again the same time, he could not come. Then he said unto his servant, See, Joab's field is near mine. He has barley there. Go and set it on fire. And Absalom's servant set the field on fire. Then Joab arose and came to Absalom unto his house, and said unto him, Wherefore has thy servant set my field on fire. And Absalom answered Joab, Behold, I send unto thee, saying, Come hither, that I may send thee to the king to say, Wherefore am I come from Gashur? It had been good for me to have been here still. Now therefore let me see the king's face, and if there be any iniquity in me, let him kill me. So Joab came to the king and told him. And when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king, bowed himself on the face to the ground before the king, and the king kissed Absalom. Chapter 15. And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared his chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when any man had a controversy came to the king for judgment, then Absalom called unto him and said, Of which city art thou? And he said, Thy servant is one of the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said unto him, See, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed for the king to hear thee. Absalom said moreover, O that I were made judge in the land, that every man hath any suit or cause might come unto me, that I would do him justice. And it was so that when any man came nigh to him to do him obeisance, he put forth his hand, took him, and kissed him. And on this manner did Absalom to all the Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go and pay my vow, which I vowed unto the Lord in Hebron. For thy servant vowed a vow that I abode at Geshur in Syria, saying, If the Lord bring me again into Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. And the king said unto him, Go in peace. And he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, As soon as he hear the sound of the trumpet, then he shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called. And they went in the simplicity, and they knew not anything. And Absalom sent for Ahitophel the Gilead, David's counselor, from his city, even from Gilead, where he offered services. And the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom. There came a messenger to David, saying, The hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom. And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, Arise, let us flee, for we shall not escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly, and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword. And the king's servants said unto the king, Behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint. And the king went forth, and all his household after him. And the king left 10 women, which were concubines, to keep the house. And the king went forth, and all the people after him, and tarried in place that was far off. And all his servants passed on beside him, all the Cherethites, and all the Pelethites, and all the Gittites, 600 men, which came from him from Gath, passed on before the king. Then said the king to Ittai the Gittite, Wherefore goest thou also with us? Return to thy place, abide with the king, for thou art a stranger, and also an exile. Whereas thou camest was yesterday. Should I this day make thee go down with us, saying, I go whither I may, return thou, take back with thy brethren. Mercy and truth be with thee. And Ittai answered the king and said, As the Lord liveth, as my lord the king liveth, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in life or death, even there will thy servant be. And the king said to Ittai, Go and pass over. And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all his men, and the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. And lo, Zadok also, and all the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of God. And Abiathar went up, until all the people had done passing out of the city. And the king asked unto Zadok, Carry back the ark of God into the city. If I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me again, and shew me both it and his habitation. But if he thus say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here am I, let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. And the king said unto Zadok his priest, Art thou not a seer? Return into the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, Ahimaaz the son, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come word from you to certify me. Zadok therefore and Abiathar carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried therefore. And David went by the ascent of Mount Olivet, and wept as he went up, and had his head covered, and he went barefoot. And all the people that was with him covered every man his head. They went up weeping as they went up. And one told David, saying, Ahitophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Ahitophel into foolishness. And it came to pass that when David was come to the top of the mount, where he worshipped God, behold, Hushai the Archite came to meet him with his coat rent and earth upon his head. Unto whom David said, If thou passest on with me, then thou shalt be a burden unto me. But if they return to the city and say unto Absalom, I will buy the servants, O king, as I have been thy father's servant hitherto, so will I now also be thy servant. Then mayest thou for me defeat the counsel of Ahitophel. And hast thou not there with thee Zadok and Abiathar the priest? Therefore it shall be that whatever thing shalt thou hear out of the king's house, thou shalt tell it to Zadok and Abiathar the priest. Behold, they shall have there with him 2 sons, Ahimaaz Zadok's son, and Jonathan Abiathar's son, and by him he shall send unto me everything that he can hear. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Absalom came into Jerusalem. Chapter 16. And when David was a little past the top of the hill, behold, Ziba the servant of Mephibosheth met him, with a couple of asses saddled, and upon them 200 loaves of bread, 100 bunches of raisins, 100 of summer fruits, and a bottle of wine. And the king said unto Ziba, What meanest thou by this? And Ziba said, The asses be for the king's household to ride on, and the bread and summer food for the young men to eat, and the wine that shall be as faint as in the wilderness may drink. And the king said, Where is thy master's son? And Ziba said unto king, Behold, he abideth at Jerusalem, for he said, Today shall the house of Israel restore me the kingdom of my father. Then said the king to Ziba, Behold, thine are all pertained unto Mephibosheth. And Ziba said, I humbly beseech thee that I may find grace in thy sight, O my king. And when the king David came to Bahurim, behold, then came a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came. And he cast stones at David, and at all the servants of David, and all the people, and all the mighty men that were on the right hand and on his left. And thus said Shimei, when he cursed, come out, bloody man, and thou man of Belial. And the Lord has returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned. And the Lord has delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom the son. And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. Then said Abishai, the king of Zeruiah, unto the king, What should this dead dog curse, my lord, my king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. And the king said, What I have to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah? No, let him curse, because the Lord has sent unto him. Curse David. Who shall then say, Wherefore hast thou done so? And David said to Abishai and all his servants, Behold, my son, which came out of my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more may this Benjamin do? Let him alone, let him curse, for the Lord has bidden him. It may be that the Lord will look on mine affliction, and the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day. And as David and his men went by over against him, and cursed as he went, he threw stones at him and cast us. And the king and all the people and that were with him came weary, and refreshed themselves with air. And Absalom and all the people that were men of Israel came to Jerusalem, and Ahitophel with him. And it came to pass, when Hushai the Archite, David's father, was come unto Absalom, that Hushai said unto Absalom, God save the king, God save the king. And Absalom said to Hushai, Is the kindness to thy friend? Why wentest thou with thy friend? And Hushai said to Absalom, Nay, but whom the Lord and this people and all the men of Israel choose, his will I be, and with him I will abide. And again, whom should I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his son? As I served in the presence of the father, so will I be in his presence. Then said Absalom to Ahitophel, Give counsel among you what we shall do. Then said Ahitophel unto Absalom, Go into for thy father's concubines, which he has left to keep the house, and as all Israel hath shall hear thou hast abhorred of thy father, then shall thy hands of all that are with thee be strong. So they spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house. And Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of Israel. And the counsel of Ahitophel, which he counselled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the counsel of Ahitophel, both with David and with Absalom. Chapter 17. Moreover, Ahitophel said unto Absalom, Let him now choose out of 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue after David this night. And I will come upon him while he is weary and weak-handed, and I will make him afraid, and all the people that are with him shall flee. And I will smite the king only, and I will bring back all the people unto thee. The man whom thou seekest is as if all returned, so the people shall be in peace. And the saying pleased Absalom well, and all the elders of Israel. And then said Absalom, Call now Hushai the Archite also, let us hear likewise what he says. And Hushai came unto Absalom. Absalom spake unto him, saying, Ahitophel has spoken after this manner. Shall we do after his saying? If not, speak thou. Then Hushai said unto Absalom, The counsel that Ahitophel has given is not good at this time. For, said Hushai, thou knowest thy father and his men. They be mighty men. They be shaft in thy minds. Be as a bear robbed of the webs in the field. Thy father is a man of war, will not lodge with the people. Behold, he is hid now in some pit, or in some other place. And it will come to pass, when some of them be overthrown at first, that whosoever hear it will say, There is slaughter among the people that follow Absalom. And he also that is valiant, whose heart is as the heart of lion, shall utterly melt, for all they that be with him are valiant men. Therefore I will counsel all Israel be generally gathered unto thee, for Dan even to Beersheba, as a sand that is by the sea for multitude. They that go to battle in thine own person, so shall we come upon him in some place for Israel, where he shall be found. And we will light upon him as the dew falleth on the ground, and of him and of all men that are with him there shall not be left so much as one. Moreover, if he be gotten in a city, then shall all Israel bring ropes to that city, and we will draw it near the river, and there shall not be one small stone found there. And Absalom said to the men of Israel and said, The counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahitophel. And the Lord has appointed to defeat the counsel of Ahitophel, to the intent that the Lord might bring evil upon Absalom. Then Hushai said unto Zadok and to Abiathar the priest, Thus and thus did Ahitophel counsel Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus I have counsel. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, Lodge now this night in the plains of the wilderness, speedily pass over, lest the king be swallowed up, and the people that are with him. And Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed by Enrogel, that they might not be seen to come to the city. And Avenge went and told them, and they went and told David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them, and told Absalom that both of them away quickly, and came to a man's house, Bahurim, which had a well in his court, whither they went down. And the woman took and spread a covering over the well's mouth, and spread ground corn there, and the thing was not known. And when Absalom's servants came to the woman of the house and said, Where is Ahimaaz and Jonathan? The woman said unto them, They be gone over the brook of the water. And when they sought and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. And it came to pass, after they were departed, they came out of the well, and went and told King David, and had said unto David, Arise, quickly pass over the water, for thus is Ahitophel counselled against you. And David arose, and all the people that were with him, and they passed over Jordan, the morning light, that lacked not one of them that had not gone over Jordan. And when Ahitophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass and rose, got him home to his house, to his city, put the household in order, hanged himself, died, and was buried in the sepulchre of his father. And David came to Mahanaim, and Absalom passed over Jordan, he and all the men of Israel with him. And Absalom made Amasa captain of the host instead of Joab. And Amasa was a man's son, whose name was Ithra, an Israelite. And then into Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, sister of Zeruiah, Joab's mother. So Israel and Absalom pitched in the land of Gilead. And it came to pass, when David was come to Mahanaim, that Shobi the son of Nahash of Rabbah, of the son of Ammon, and Machir the son of Amiel of Lobdar, and Basirleh the Gileadite of Rokilim, brought beds and basins and earthen vessels, wheat and barley and flour, and parched corns and beans and lentils, and parched pulse and honey and butter and sheep, cheese of kine for David, and for the people that were with him to eat. They said, the people is hungry, weary, thirsty in the wilderness.